Sara Harberson is back with us. Sara, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
How is this application season stacking up versus others? Are applications down? Are they down to the Ivies? What's happening?
Well, we know that at least at Yale, the results for the early round for them, that single choice early action, they're down 14% in applications. We want to keep in mind that this was a change this year. They changed their standardized testing policy.
They went back to requiring it?
They were test optional for about 5 years during the pandemic, and now they are requiring testing once again. And so is Brown, Dartmouth, Harvard, UT Austin, Caltech. So we're seeing.
Do we know whether those institutions have seen applications decline the same way Yale has or not?
Yale is really the only school that we have
That's
early
told
results.
us.
Yeah, and that was from the student newspaper, and they are good journalists.
Yale Daily News is good, man.
You got it.
One of the best papers around.
But I would suspect if a college, went from test optional to testing required again, we have to anticipate that they're going to see application drops. That is to be expected. When a college has a test optional policy, they tend to see a surge in applications. They tend to see higher average scores for their admitted students. And they also see a better cross-section of the students that they want on their campuses. So test optional policies definitely help colleges. The only issue is, especially the Ivies and the Ivy-type institutions haven't really adopted test optional in the way that it was created. They are clearly giving advantages to students who are reporting high test scores in the admissions process.
Have you seen a difference in how students are applying to college now, especially through COVID, with the cost of education over, for some of the schools, $80,000? Are they identifying more trade schools or schools with outcomes? Is any of that happening right now?
The four-year degree is still valuable for a lot of families across the country, but interestingly, the Ivies are very expensive and they have great need-based financial aid, but there are a lot of middle and upper middle income families that don't want to pay that price. So a lot of students are very attracted to the big Southern universities, and their price tags are usually a fraction of those Ivy League.
But some of those schools are charging roughly what the Ivies do. The University of Miami is one of them. USC in California is another one of them.
But the public universities in the South are a great deal. Great honors programs as well. They're a pipeline for those big international academic scholarships like the Rhodes Scholarship. Over the last couple of years, we've seen at least one, sometimes multiple students coming from one of the larger public Southern universities getting chosen for the Rhodes. So these are schools we got to really be aware of. They are kind of the new elite. And they are very popular among students, not just in-state students and Southern students, but students coming from all over the country.
Oh, sure. Just take a tour around my block. I live in New Jersey, and it's filled with Southern schools where everyone's excited to go to school. The question around the Ivies is actually just about how their sort of culture is creating some backlash. So I'm glad you mentioned this issue about tests, which might factor into any declines that we've seen. And we'll wait to hear from the schools beyond Yale. Yale wasn't so much even in the spotlight as Columbia and some of these others. So can you tell from your sort of the students that you talk to, and the parents maybe, if the preference is shifting away from the Ivies, or do you think that's going to be a short-lived type of thing?
I think the Ivies are always going to be highly desirable, especially for students who are coming from college-educated backgrounds. It's the prestige of it all. But these Southern universities are going to be the ones to watch moving forward. Just since 2019, so right before the pandemic hit, those Southern universities were doing great, but in 5 years, we've seen application totals double, triple, quadruple. Give you an example, Auburn University has seen a 172% increase in applications since 2019.
Wow.
That also affects the acceptance rate, though. And so for a student who thinks it's easier to get into these Southern universities, they sometimes are surprised because it has gotten so selective.